Hello everybody and welcome to a new show by Miss Strategy, Banter Blitz with Miss Strategy. This is incredible. I don't know how to play Banter Blitz, but luckily I've just watched Topiko's show. Today is a Miss Strategy, Miss Tactics Day here on Chess24, and she has just streamed an excellent, amazing show. She always does such a great job commentating the games and then analyzing not only from her perspective but giving advice to you guys. I just wish I could do it half as well as she does, so I'll try my best. Matter of fact, I haven't streamed Banter Blitz on my own for 2 years. Actually, since I started my middle game shows, it was always the priority. But you guys told me, why don't you make a Banter Blitz as well? So here I am, I'm doing what you told me, Banter Blitz with me. Bullet Fest with me, Blunder Fest. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Expect me to blunder, expect me to lose on time, and expect me to make silly moves because I feel like it is so difficult to play Banter Blitz. I watch all those shows when Topiko streams, when Jan streams, when Peter Svidler streams. They are awesome, and I don't know how they do it because for me to speak and think at the same time while you are moving the mouse, because I have some hard feelings about mouses in general, mice, chess wise and also computer wise, animal wise, I don't know. Anyway, I try to do my best. I try not to lose on time, and I try to speak something smart, something instructional. This is, remember, the first time I stream alone a Banter Blitz. Last time we did it together with Topiko from Hamburg, and I hope that we will be back together. We shall go to Hamburg soon to record new video series together. Now she will record an opening series next week, as she told you. I'm looking forward to her video series, and after that, in a few months, I think we will have a new Miss Strategy, Miss Tactics video series, and then we will stream together, physically together in the Hamburg studio of Chess24. But in the meantime, you will have Thursdays, Miss Strategy, Miss Tactics Day, and I shall bring up a chessboard because I speak a lot, but there's nothing you can see so far. You shall go to Chess24. If you are watching me on Chess24, you know where you are, but in case you are watching on YouTube, I guess that's also possible. Let me just check quickly in the chat, by the way, if everything is good. Okay, you can hear me because I see that there are some comments about the mouse. Yeah, maybe I could buy a better mouse, but simply, I'm always saying I'm left-handed and I use the mouse with the right hand. It's something that I do since I was a child, so now I can't unlearn using the mouse with my weak hand. Anyway, it's enough of complaints and excuses. If I lose, it's because of me. So let's go for it. Let's bring up the website first of all of Chess24. If you are watching on YouTube, please go to chess24.com, and there you shall go to play. Well, actually, you can find me if you go to the search. I don't think you see the whole page, so you see there, you must see me there with long hair, Banter Blitz with Miss Strategy. That's where you can watch and chat with me. I'm checking your chat from the phone, so keep on talking to me, please. I will keep an eye on the chat as well, but I'm just so nervous about this Banter Blitz that I think let's get the first game out of the way and then I'll speak more. So please challenge me for a 5-minute Blitz game. Premium members, please. You always get priority if you are a premium member. You should be a premium on Chess24 to support the page and to be able to get all these awesome extras such as the Banter Blitz sessions with titled players and also the video series that are at your disposal. All those video series recorded by stars like Peter Svidler, Vichy Anand, Hui Fan, Jan Gustafsson, Lauren Strand, and Miss Strategy, Miss Tactics. So make sure that you purchase a premium membership. Challenge me for a 5-minute unrated Blitz game, please, because I'm gonna blunder all my pieces. At least I don't want to lose rating, please. Let's see if I have challenges already. 39 challenges, oh my. I try to pick as many as I can. Okay, what I usually do is that I try not to look and just pick randomly. This time it will not work because I need to pay attention that you are a premium member and that you challenge me for a 5-minute unrated blitz. So 5 minutes unrated premium members. I shall find someone. Why are all games rated? Please challenge me for an unrated game. Don't be so cruel. This is my first ever game after 2 years. I'm gonna blunder. I'm gonna lose on time. Please. 5 minutes unrated blitz games. Now challenge me. Challenge Anna.Rudolf on chess 24. Oh, unrated. I've just seen one. Where is it? I think I've seen it. Heima. Accept. I'm accepting your challenge, Heima. I'm so excited and nervous at the same time. I hope that you guys can see the board correctly. Let me see. This should be like this, I believe. D4. I always, nowadays, go for D5. I used to play the Nimso Indian and Queen's Indian, but now I'm old and I play the Queen's Gambit Declined. I think it fits more my style. You know that I'm Miss Strategy and I like to play positional. I go like old maneuvering. I win every game in 70 moves because that's how I win. I win in the end games. Anyway, this is of course the typical stereotype, but it's often true. It is often true that I need to play forever until I manage to win or lose a game. So this is the Queen's Gambit Declined, and he has taken on D5 early on. It's also possible not to take. There are several lines in this position and I'm mixing things up, but I will play C6. Then Knight F6, Castle Kingside is of course what I want to do as black. And white has several setups, but mainly he will want to play against my C8 bishop. As you know, I play openings where the C8 bishop is bad. I play the French defense. I play the Queen's Gambit Declined. And in all these openings, my C8 bishop suffers. But it also means that I have this big objective of making this bishop work. And once I get rid of this bishop, I exchange it, or I manage to place it somewhere where it's more useful, then I'm happy and then my position is okay. So that is my goal in this position, to do something about the C8 bishop. First of all, of course, development, Knight F6, castle. And you see he places the queen on C2. And this is very important because now this queen will not allow me to play bishop f5 where my bishop would have been useful. So I can go g6, but bishop d3 anyway will prevent my bishop move. Then what I can do is to castle, hope that I will not get mated, because white can also castle queenside and then it's opposite side castling, and you know what happens with opposite side castling. Dangerous. It's dangerous. So if I go, for instance, bishop g4, bishop h5, bishop g6, that's a long maneuver to try to get rid of my bishop. But as I said, it's long, it takes ages. Another thing I can try is to play on the queen side or to challenge white's center by pushing c5 in the right moment. He hasn't castled yet, but he will go knight e2, and he can castle still queen side and king side as well, depending on his playing style. I said this is bishop g4, bishop h5 is too long. Yeah, I'm still so tempted to play it because I want to get rid of my bishop. Bishop g4, I'm afraid of h3 and then g4, these pawns storm and I'm just stuck there with my bishop on g6. Okay, I shall do something else instead. I will do something funny. No, not funny enough. I'll just place the knight here for the moment. I wanted to go something weird. Knight f3 is of course a normal move. Now I can go rook e8. These are natural developing moves. I'm still suffering about the c8 bishop. He castled kingside, which is for me in a sense good news that I'm not getting mated. He will not start pushing the g and h pawns against my king. Of course, it's not like you got mated immediately, and I would have had some attack, or at least enough attack on the queen side, but in general I'm scared of those moves and those attacks. Knight e6, I'm attacking his bishop, and then I can play this typical maneuver in the Queen's Gambit Declined. g6, knight g7, and bishop f5. You finally get rid of the bishop. It takes ages, you see that it's taking me so long, but it is worth it, because this bishop, if you don't exchange it, it is a pain in the position. You see that my pawn chain, all these pawns are on light squares. Therefore, this is the good bishop. this is the bad one, and I want to get rid of the bad bishop. You see, knight g7, I'm preparing bishop f5, and he's going for the minority attack, which is also very typical in the Queen's Gambit, this Carlsbad pawn structure. I'm sure many of you know about this pawn structure and how white can go for b4, a4, b5, the minority attack. So I can decide whether to play a6, which usually is the response. There are actually several ways of reacting to this typical minority attack, and then after b4 you want to see if you want to take with c pawn and then push a5 or a pawn and such and such. What I see is that I'm running short on time because I told you I can't be explaining and playing at the same time. I take my time to stop and talk, and then I make a move. I'm like a grandma. Anyway, knight e5 is of course a great move. I will swap this bishop and then I can jump knight f5. Let's pre-move it. Let's pre-move it. I hope he will not play knight takes c6 or something. Anyway, his queen is hanging, but I am always scared about pre-moving. If it's not a check, then, I mean, I know what is the most natural here. Queen takes or knight takes d3, both are good. Imagine if he had played something silly, something crazy, and I pre-moved already. Anyway, of course he wants to keep the bishop on the board, and now I shall see what I do about this b5 threat and this knight on e5, which is really annoying, so I will get rid of it. I want to exchange this beast on e5. That is a beautiful post for the knight, so I want to get rid of this knight on e5. 2 minutes on the clock, not looking good time-wise, mouse-wise, and b5 of course is a good move. That's what white shall do. I will take this one first, and then I see what I do about the pawns. So of course now the bishop is good. I can later trade it by playing bishop f6 or bishop d6, but right now I have problems. I need to do something about this b5 push and not lose on time. Good luck, Anna. Good luck with that. I think I shall open the a file and play rook a3. Another way of playing is to take with the c pawn and then push a5. You have a passed pawn actually, but the d5 pawn would have been very weak. Okay, he doesn't want to be in the pin. This is very logical, but I will triple my heavy pieces on the a file. And now this knight has nowhere to go. No good square for the c3 knight. I think I should play faster. Alright, I tripled my heavy pieces. I'm kind of happy. The c6 pawn will be my weakness. After b takes, this is the weakness in my position. White will try to take that pawn. I will try to not give up that pawn. That is what this position will be about. Of course, I try to compensate for this weakness in my pawn structure by having active pieces. That's why I doubled, tripled on the a file. So activity can compensate for structural weaknesses like this c6 pawn, backward pawn after b takes, backward pawn, lonely pawn on c6. Okay, I've got 1 minute and 22 seconds and my bishop will be hanging after g4, so I shall do something about this. I can go bishop b4, which is, I think, a very natural looking move, attacking the c3 knight, although I might be chasing the knight away towards a better square. It was not very well placed on c3. After knight e2, my pawn will be hanging on c6. Anyway, I want to play rook a2. You know that the rook on the 7th or second rank is great. My bishop will be hanging on b4 at some point. That's my only concern. Not the pawn on c6. I would give up a pawn, of course, for active pieces, but after rook a2, I think he will attack my... What? I don't understand. Am I missing something? Am I getting mated? Queen f6! Oh my goodness me! I wanted to take the knight, but I'm getting mated after queen f6, queen h8. I don't have a good defense. What a blunder. What a blunder. Very well played. And also queen c8 is another possible threat in the future. This is beautiful. You played very well. Very well played, Heima. I'm gonna lose on time if I don't do something. I have to come back and be passive. What a blunder by me. I thought I can take the knight, but queen f6 would have given mate. Very well played, Heima. I totally missed this idea, and now I'm busted because I lost the pawn and the d5 pawn is hanging too. I shall... Ooh, but knight e7, queen f6, I'm blundering that move again. This is horrible, guys. This is horrible. And now bishop c7. I'm completely lost. Totally lost. And the bishop too. Yeah, this was horrible. I will resign if I find the resign button. You see, I told you. I told you that I'm gonna lose my first game. Oh, look at this. Let's go through the game. Queen's Gambit declined. Everything was normal. I told you about the maneuvers, that I want to get rid of this c8 bishop, and this knight, rook to e8, knight f8, knight e6, and then g6, knight g7, and bishop f5. That's the way you can get rid of the bishop. Of course, white played very well. Heima, congratulations, not only for beating me, but also playing very well this minority attack, rook b1, b4, a4, the typical plan. And I maybe didn't react the best way. I was telling you that the other way is c takes, a takes, a5, but in this position I don't think this is the correct choice because my d5 pawn will be very weak. So even though you have a pass pawn, you have this d5 central weakness. So I think here this was still alright, a takes, and activating my heavy pieces. But I totally forgot about this e5 bishop. Of course it's a very strong piece, but I thought that this bishop alone will not do any harm. And that is correct. But I forgot that once the queen joins, and I even moved the bishop away. Look at this. After rook b7, I made this all possible because my bishop on e7 was protecting the f6 square. And I went bishop b4, I wanted to attack, and after knight e2 my plan was rook a2, and I thought that he has to play queen d3 or attack my bishop with queen b3. I did not realize that after queen takes c6, what a beautiful move. Next move, queen f6, and I get mated. I'm completely lost from here on, so it doesn't matter that I blunder the bishop. From this moment on, I'm completely lost. So this rook a2 is a losing move. Very well played, Heima. I think now in hindsight that, of course, this bishop b4 was too optimistic. I should have kept an eye on this guy, the e5 bishop. I should have done something about that, or challenge at least this rook. I'm not sure which one is the best move in this position, but for instance, queen a6 is one option. I could have just tried to keep this bishop here. The position is not easy. I think this is a complicated position with possibilities for both sides, because I have very active pieces on the a file, but my bishop on e7 is not well placed, and this e5 bishop is a monster. The knight on f5 is not doing much either, so I would have needed time for some maneuver like knight d6 and knight c4, but at the same time my king is weak, so this fianchetto position, the pawn setup I have without the bishop on g7 is dangerous, and I knew that, but I thought that the bishop alone will not give me mate. Well, after queen takes c6, I am getting mated. It's beautiful. For instance, imagine if I could stop queen f6, but yeah, I don't know how to demonstrate it. I wanted to get rid of this bishop from here. Like sometimes it's also about the back rank, what I wanted to tell you. If I cannot bring back the bishop, imagine this bishop was here, so I prevent... No, it's not working the way I want to show it to you guys. But anyway, in some positions also queen c8 would have been a threat thanks to this bishop. So this bishop is winning the game, threatening queen f6. That's one way of threatening me mate, and also the back rank. Sometimes I would have had back rank problems, but queen f6 of course is the main threat, and what I had to prevent in this very moment. Completely lost position. Congratulations, Heima. I will now take a new challenge, but first of all, let me see the chat. Alright, let's see. Brooklyn Bobby is saying that no reason to be unrated. Rating not important. Well, if it's not important, then why it cannot be unrated? Anyway, if you guys prefer rated, I'm gonna lose all my rating. Oliver is saying, but if I win, but that doesn't happen. Well, you see, it happens. You see, today Today is the day when you guys can all take the badge on chess24 for beating an international master. That is me, because I'm gonna be blundering pieces and mate threats and all this stuff. This is my first ever Banter Blitz after 2 years. So imagine, I'm like a dinosaur. I totally cannot play Banter Blitz. I can't speak and play at the same time. This show is for you to have fun, because I'm not expecting anything good from my play. Let's see what else is in the chat. Pramod is saying that I had to go queen d8 instead of bishop b4. That is possible. Grundilu is saying that if the result does not matter, if the show is instructive. Thank you so much. I hope that you think that you all think that. And I see you are trying to get an answer from me about Sopiko's video series. I know what she will record about, which opening she has chosen, but I cannot tell you. That is going to be a surprise. Anyway, I speak a lot and play a few games only. So let's go for another challenge. Let's blunder one more time. Unrated 5 minutes. I'm gonna try to randomly stop somewhere. And I was lucky that this is a 5-minute unrated premium challenge. I was trying to do this as randomly as possible because I cannot play with everybody. That is such a pity. I would need to be here for like 20 hours if I wanted to play everybody. I'm so sorry that I can't accept all the challenges, but I'll try to do my best playing with most of you, with many of you. Mr. Vonkish from, can't see the flag properly, the Netherlands, where my awesome colleague Sapika Guramishvili lives, and she is the one who was streaming before me. I already told you about it. Why is it that I'm black again, by the way? You want to see another Queen's Gambit declined? Well, alright. Now actually I should change next time so it won't be that boring. Anyway, I was going to say that Sopiko streamed an excellent show. I was already praising her show, but that's what I can say. Only extremely positive feedback. She is doing an amazing job, and she will record about the opening. I'm not telling you. It's going to be an awesome video series about an opening that many of you guys play. So try to figure out what opening is that. Bishop e2 is possible, of course, and playing with e3, not developing the bishop. So this is a kind of setup against the Queen's Gambit decline, where white does not develop the bishop. Then he might play bishop to b2 after b3. And white, while white will do that, black has many options. For instance, b6, bishop b7, knight d7 afterwards, c5. I think I'll do that. Also, I can play c5 immediately and some isolated pawn structure positions. But I think I'll go for b6. I expect castle or b3, and then I'm gonna go bishop b7, knight d7, and at some point I want to play c5. This is kind of a symmetrical position. You will see that it could be actually a mirror position if white goes b3. He doesn't want a mirror position. That's better. I prefer that it's not completely identical. So now this is going to be funny, because I can create hanging pawns, and you know that I recorded videos on hanging pawns. Well, I streamed about the hanging pawns in my middle game shows, where often you want to have the bishop on e6 and not on b7. So now, even though that is the most natural, of course, and I think I will still play bishop b7, in many other positions with hanging pawns, you do want your bishop on e6 instead. So that's why I stopped at that moment. Some positions require bishop e6, other positions bishop on b7. I prefer bishop b7 in this position, not that I have a good reason for it, I just played it. So c5 is what I'm playing for, but first I will develop my pieces. Also, sometimes if this pawn would be hanging, not in this case, I already have two pieces defending it. Sometimes you even need to protect it with the c pawn, c6. That's a bit passive, but this position is solid. So all these positions against the Queen's Gambit, when you don't accept a pawn, This is a very solid structure. I can play, for instance, with knight e4, then bring the other knight to f6 and play c5 in the right moment. And I just enjoy playing these positions because you know that I love maneuvers. So you see that I bring the knight to d7 and then to e4 the other knight, and then I come here to f6, and white can do the same. He can go knight e5. And yeah, this position has all these rich maneuvering options, and that's why I like it. I like maneuvers. I will go here, even though white can play knight e5. And also if knight b5, then I have c6. So sometimes this guy on a semi-open file, this c7 pawn can be weak. Bishop d3, not threatening to take my knight, so that is fine. But I shall see how to proceed. I think I will play a6 because I want to play bishop d6 in the future, and I don't want white to be able to play knight b5. So that's why I go a6. With the bishop on d6, my position would be somewhat nicer. The bishop on e7 is quite passive. It's not doing anything. If the bishop is on d6, at least you pretend that you will attack the king on g1. Doesn't mean, of course, that I will do anything about it, but let's pretend. Bishop d6. b4, I think, is a good move because it stops c5 in many positions. Well, he was afraid, he played h3, you see? That's why you should pretend. Pretend that you are attacking. The rook to e8 because it's natural. I wish I could build up a battery, a bishop, queen battery on this diagonal. Then I would threaten mate on h2 after knight g5. But it's difficult to build it. I would need to play c6, move the bishop away, queen d6. And in the end, I think white would play knight e5, block the whole diagonal, if necessary, even play f4. What is he doing, by the way? I don't understand king h1. He got scared that I would attack, but I think he had no reason to. Anyway, let's try to open the position a bit with c5. I'm not sure that this is the best move in the position, but let's make it more interesting. I want to open the position because if I could open the diagonals, well, then I would have more chances of attacking the king on h1. You know that I'm a positional player, but that doesn't mean that I don't like to give checkmate. So I wish to build up some kind of an attack. That was a difficult word to pronounce. Hanging piece on d3, and then I want to bring my other knight to e4. I should be careful about not losing this pawn, of course. With the king on h1, I don't have this cover checks. Sometimes you want to give up this pawn on d5, and when the queen takes, you win the queen in the end. This is not the case, so I shall stop dreaming about that. I will still play this move. Luckily, this is a bit passive. The bishops on c2 and d2. Okay, now how shall I take back? I can take back with the pawn, change the pawn structure, chase the knight away from f3, and then I have more attacking chances. I think that's what I will do. I could also take with the knight, which is looking good. Yeah, both options I like, but I think that this way, after the knight going away, I have this option of bringing the queen to e5. So, how shall I do it? Queen to g5 or to f6? Is that the same? I hope it's the same. Let's hope that it's the same. Is this stronger? I'm not sure. I also want to bring later the rook, but I can't play rook e6. So it would be nice to have the rook somewhere here. On h6, on g6. I'm dreaming of an attack, of course. Oh, he wants to swap queens. That's good. You are playing well. That's what you should do when you have problems with your king. He's doing very well. And now maybe queen f4 he will play. What shall I do after queen f4? Queen d5, attacking the queen. Oh, this was unexpected. I think now I will play this. And the h3 pawn would be hanging after queen f4. I was afraid that he would threaten once again the swap. The exchange of queens, because I don't want to exchange queens in this position. I want to attack. Not that I know how to attack, but I try. After queen h4, I have bishop e7. And then I think I'm winning the h3 pawn in the end, so he can't keep the pawn. Queen h4, bishop e7. He has to go queen f4, I'll take it, and then I take the h3 pawn. He did not do that, I'll take the pawn immediately. So this is a pawn up, and I'm still attacking. I still have the queen on the board. What is he doing? He got confused, I think, because now I'm gonna take this rook. It's an exchange up. I could have also kept this bishop because it was, of course, a very nice attacking piece. Anyway, let's give a check. And now I want to bring the rook. I still can't play rook e6. Exchange up, so don't panic, Anna, and don't lose on time. Of course, this is the position where you wish you had a large squared bishop. Yeah, I don't have that, but I can bring my pieces. Can I just play simply rook d8? I hope it's all right. Of course, he might take the pawn if the bishop takes. He still wants to exchange queens. I still don't want to exchange queens. Where shall I go? But anyway, he will exchange queens if he wants. Okay, let's do it this way. In worst case, I will take on h4, and then it's a weakness. Then I will bring my rook. Oh, no, I will not bring my rook. That's a fork. You see, this is what you should avoid. Blundering. Don't blunder. Hope I'm not blundering. I'm running low on time. So I almost blundered knight c6. After rook e5, knight c6 would have been a fork. That's what I realized, and now I just want to get rid of his pieces. Do I want to take this? No, I probably don't, because rook c7 is a good move. Let's go. e3. Why do I do this? I can't take back because of the back rank mate. Oh my god, what am I doing? You see, this is what happens when I'm short on time. I play the silliest moves possible. This was really silly, and I have to work hard again to have a good position. Okay, at least do not blunder. I have everything protected. I have everything protected. For the moment, I need not to blunder my rook. Okay, this was very stupid, e3. I should play fast. I want to go g5, that's why I'm playing h6. And he lost on time. Anyway, this game, I thought I was doing very well. I was having a very good position, winning position. Never forget about your king. So even after exchanging queens, doesn't mean that nothing wrong can happen to your king. Look at my king position. Look at all these pawns, which are very nice, normally your bodyguards, but I can get back rank mated. A back rank mate, you know, if without this rook, it is a back rank mate, and I was willing to go for it. I play e3, and after capture, luckily, I realized that rook takes e3 was a losing move. Guys, don't blunder. Don't blunder like me. I blundered already 2 out of 2 in both games. Of course, any move is good. I could have taken the pawn. I was calculating rook c7, and there I could have just played rook f8. Even though it's passive, it's nice that you have an exchange and a pawn up. So rook takes d4, rook c7, rook f8. This is completely winning, even though it's passive. Or any sensible move like g6, bringing your king out. You already have some luft for the king. Then you can play whatever you want. You can take the pawn, you can play e3. Anything but not e3. After this, I think I'm still winning, but I have given chances to the opponent. Anyway, Mr. Vonkish, I think you played very well this the end phase of the game. Where I think it went wrong for you was sometime around here. I think you started playing too passive. This was still fine, of course, playing b4. But first of all, I don't think h3 was necessary, because bishop d6 doesn't really threaten anything. Even if I go knight g4, I'm still not threatening anything. So don't be afraid of this bishop. With the knight on f3, usually you're just fine. Anyway, h3 in itself is not a mistake. But then king h1, the combination of these moves, you were wasting time on trying to protect your king from an attack that did not exist. But by losing all these tempi, h3, king h1, you actually gave me a reason, an opportunity to attack, and therefore I go for c5. I want to open the position because suddenly your pieces are not ideally placed the king is weird on h1, and the bishop on d3 will be hanging in many variations like in this one. So I win a tempo once again, and the king on h1, if you look at this position, you would prefer this king on g1. So there's no real reason for playing king h1. It looked like I was attacking, but there was no real attack. And after these moves, and now my other knight comes to e4, I think black's position is really pleasant. Of course I'm not winning, it's not close to being anything serious as an advantage, but after the capture on e4 and taking back with the pawn, I think I started to have serious chances. Queen g4 was a good move. I think you should exchange queens when the opponent is attacking you. So queen g4 is a great defensive move. Maybe after queen e5 you could have tried queen f4. This is what I thought was your idea. And but if I take, it's true that you will have doubled pawns, but it's not the end of the world. So I think this position is alright. I don't have any tactics, I think, because if queen takes d4, you take back, and this bishop is now defending the queen, so I did not win a piece. Also, my knight is hanging on c5. So I think tactically queen f4 was working as a defensive move. You prevent the mate on h2, and once again you threaten to swap queens. It's annoying because I want to keep the queens on the board, so I need to move away with the queen. I think I would have played queen d5, after which you can go back to g4. I think my position is still very nice. I probably would have tried bishop c8, a move like this, and then once your queen is away, if you go back, then again I will threaten mate on h2. And you will have to weaken your structure. You will have to play f4, I believe, because if g3, I take the pawn. That's why this bishop c8, such a funny retreating move. And now my rooks are not connected. I put the bishop back where it used to be. It looks like I'm not developing my pieces, but I think in this position, the bishops are so powerful. Look at these two bishops, how they are working, how they are shooting at the white king. So after queen move, queen e5, this is really powerful. And thanks to the e4 pawn, that's why I took on e4 with the pawn, there's no defender. The usual defender, the f3 knight, is missing. And that's why this attack is so powerful, without the f3 knight. It is powerful. If there was no pawn on e4, the knight goes back to f3 and there's just no problem. So f4 I think would have had to be played, and if I take, the knight takes, but the structure is weak, so there are these holes on the dark squares. The e3 pawn is weak as well. I think this position is better for black, but it's not winning. So I believe this was the way to play. I should go for a new game, because if not, I will be here analyzing 2 games for 1 hour. Some more challenges, 5-minute blitz, unrated, premium members. Please, let's once again mix it a bit so that I don't always pick the first ones. I try to mix and not scroll, then scroll and find unrated 5-minute. Easy Rider 27. Easy Rider 27 is a usual member of my strategy middle game shows and also the thematic tournaments. So I'm happy that I can now play against you, Easy Rider 27, as a loyal follower, a fan of the strategy middle game show. Oh, I'm right. I did not realize. I got used to the fact that I'm black in every game. e4. That's my usual opening. I like to go e4, d6, then d4. So this can either be the Pirc or it can transpose to the Philidor. We shall see. So e5 would transpose. Yeah, this is now the Philidor defense. I used to play this as black when I was a kid. Not with e takes d5, not with e takes d4, but I used to play it with bishop e7. I think against this setup, I like to play the fianchetto. So g3, bishop g2 and castle. Maybe this is not the most challenging, but I think it's a very comfortable position for white. So I will always have this e4 guy protected. The main idea of black with this e takes is that later on the rook will come to e8 and put some pressure on the e4 pawn. I'm just surprised by knight c6. I think this is not the main variation. I will take it because I like to double my opponent's pawns, and then I castle. Castle before there's some trouble on the e file. Okay, so his plan was to bring the rook to the b file. Well, then I can double fianchetto. bring the bishop to b2. It's good as long as you don't blunder some kind of a bishop f6 and this skewer, but I'm in time to play bishop b2. Of course, now this is a pin. In worst case, I will go knight a4, but I don't think it's necessary at the moment. I shall develop my pieces, bring the rooks to the d and e file. Also, I can go f4 at some point. And generally, white has more space. That's the good point of my position. I will bring the rooks. I'm just thinking that, yeah, in the end, at the end of the day, this pin is annoying. It is somewhat annoying. So even though I have these nice pieces, I have more space thanks to the e4 pawn, I'm annoyed that I cannot move the knight away. I will have to play knight a4, swap the bishops, and then I can move the knight. But on b2, my knight will not be good. So knight a4, I take on b2, and that knight is not well placed. So that is my worry. Anyway, now he closed the diagonal. I can move the knight. He might give up the knight and then take my bishop. Is that his plan? But then c3. Is that good? I think that the bishop would be trapped. Okay, let's see what does he want to do after, for instance. Where should I go? Knight e2, and then I want to place my knight on d4, for instance. Knight e2, he can also play bishop h3. It's a tricky move. I think that's what he wants. Anyway, I will go for it. I will fall into the trap. Do not blunder your queen. So bishop h3, you cannot take the bishop. By the way, I'm missing my chess24 mug. I'm not in Madrid. I'm not at home, so I don't have my mug here. Bishop h3, I can't take that. If I take on e5, bishop takes g2, bishop takes f6. I take one more piece, so that is fine. That's why he's thinking, he's considering bishop h3, but it's not working as far as I calculate. Alright, bishop takes e5 would have been the refutation. Of course, this is an unpleasant move because now knight f3. I don't want to give up this bishop. I don't want to, so I will do anything, everything possible to prevent. I wanted to play queen e3, but then knight c4. I can't take it with the pawn because then my bishop is hanging. Knight c4, bishop takes f6, knight takes e3, bishop e7, and knight takes d1. I will be an exchange down. Careful, Anna, careful. This position has suddenly got dangerous. I will give up this bishop because I prefer to keep this one. I don't want knight f3 ever, or bishop f3, all kinds of things happening on the light squares. I want this fianchetto bishop. I'm so slow, by the way. I should go faster. Faster. Play faster, Anna. You can do this. I think I will weaken the dark squares. I'm not happy about it, but I don't like this. I don't like this pin. I want to go knight d4, and this bishop was not allowing me. If the bishop goes away, I might play f4 also. If he goes to h5, then maybe I will simply play knight f4 to get rid of the pair of bishops. I don't want my opponent to have a pair of bishops. Let's play knight d4, attacking the c6 pawn, threatening a fork. Then I can go f4. Yeah, let's play f4. I think he will take my knight because it's a nice piece on d4. Or if bishop f6, he's brave because he has to calculate e5. He's brave. He's not afraid. Knight f5. I should play faster. Okay, I think the knight is nice on f5. We have learned about this in the middle game shows, but in itself, it's not gonna do much. I have to do something. I have to be... Ooh, I can be tricky. Look at this. I'm threatening knight h6. Yeah, that was the only way to get out of it, to move the king. But now, if I protect the bishop, look at this. The queen will have no moves. How shall I do it? Queen g2, bishop c8 still protects it. How can I make this work? I want to win the exchange. Okay, Anna, think fast. How can I do it? How can I do it? Okay, queen g2, bishop c8, I will take on g7, takes my bishop, I will take the rook on e8, and it's not protected because of the bishop on c8. Not connecting the rooks anymore on the back rank, that's my plan. So I'm threatening knight g7, and he knight jumps now that I defended the bishop on h3. And yeah, this is what I expected. Now if queen takes, I will take the rook. I will be an exchange up. And it's important that you don't take the queen first, because then the bishop will go away from the back rank and protect the e8 rook, and he would have had 2 minor pieces for the rook. So yeah, I'm happy I'm an exchange up, but I don't have time. I should be fast. Not to lose on time. That would be once again quite a shame. Oh, he will play bishop g4, but then I take the bishop. He doesn't have time for it. If bishop c3 first, I'll attack the bishop. It's important that some bishop would be hanging. Okay, he doesn't want my knight to come out of e8. That's why I'm doing this, and now I bring it out. I'm an exchange up, and unlike the previous game, I hope in this one I will play better, not blunder. I could blunder some kind of a bishop on this diagonal, but it's not happening at the moment. But anyway, I should be careful. You know that I blundered already in the previous game. So bishop takes f6, I'll take with a check, and then the bishop is hanging. He doesn't have time for that. Bishop c8, quite passive, but he's threatening to capture my knight. If g5, then bishop coming back to f5. Do I want that? I don't want that. Anyway, let's give a check first, then I protect my pawns. I'll protect this guy. I should play fast. Now he's threatening to take it. You see, this is what I was saying, that I can blunder it. Let's do this first. I should play really fast. Maybe b4 was not a good move. I'm weakening the light squares unnecessarily. Okay, now he can take this if he wants. He didn't want. I think he will play f6 to keep everything closed. Yeah, that was a good move. I shall now maneuver my knight to c5 or somewhere more active. Or to d4. Knight e2, knight d4. Just play faster. Okay, get out my king just in case from the g file. Knight d4. I don't have time. What shall I do? Take this and take all the pawns I can. And just play faster. Anna, play fast. I think I'm gonna lose on time. I'm very close to that. What am I doing, by the way? Let's take this. I want to win the rook endgame. I'm too slow. I'm too slow. Can I give mate without time? I should. Okay, this was close. This was close. I'm not very good at blitz, you can see that, especially when I have only a few seconds left and I cannot move the mouse. I don't know what brand is it, but I think it's not the fault of the mouse, it's my technique. It's that I like playing blitz on a real chessboard with pieces falling and you are just hitting the clock, and that's so much fun. But with a mouse, I still have these cold feelings. It's not the same. Of course, nowadays this is what you should do, and I play often. But it's not the same. I still like to hit the clock and physically touch the pieces. I like a lot when I can play on a normal chessboard, whether it's a traditional tournament, normal classical time control, or rapid or blitz, but a physical tournament where you see your opponent, you touch the pieces. I know that now I'm talking about something that is not on the websites where I'm streaming, and if I didn't play, we couldn't play against each other, so it has its pros and cons. But I do like to play on normal chessboards as well. Let me know, what do you think? Do you prefer to play on the computer, or do you prefer a physical chessboard and seeing your opponent? They both have pros and cons, as I was saying, and thanks to Chess24 and every other chess site, we can play against each other connecting from different countries. I am in Spain. Let me know where you guys are from. Where are you right now? What time is it? How is the temperature? Here it's super hot. It's a Spanish summer, 40 degrees outside. Let me know about your place, where you live, and all these fascinating stuff, because I think that even though I don't like to play so much on the computer, I do love the fact that thanks to this creature, the internet, we are all connected. And the chess game, the game of chess, this ancient game, is connecting us in a way that nothing else could. It is our language, a universal language. We can get to know each other thanks to chess, and now we play against each other, not knowing each other from real life, but from the chess world, even if thanks to technology, internet, and computers, but we can play against each other. And I think that's beautiful about chess and modern era in general. So thank you guys for being here. I will play one more game. I shall play at least one more game. Let's see the challenges. And of course, as I said, let me know about your thoughts on blitz games, rapid games, classical tournaments. Which time control do you prefer? And also, do you play tournaments or do you play online only? Which one do you like more? I think we all have our own opinions on this, and of course, this is how it should be. There's no one right opinion and right way to see the world. There are so many opinions, so many mindsets, and that is fascinating. I want to know about you. I want to know where you are from. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the chat. After the show, I will go and read everybody's comments. I promise. If you are watching on YouTube, let me know in the comments below. Yeah. Unrated 5 minute. Let's accept one. I think this might be the last game against Wabenkröte 09 from Germany. Wabenkröte 0, is that 0 or not? Zero. I used to know some German. I still understand it a bit. I learned German for 4 years at high school. I can't speak it, but I do understand some basic, very basic German. Sicilian, and now we shall see if he studied Sopiko's video series, the Najdorf. No, I'm in trouble, the Najdorf. Everybody who learns from my dear Miss Tactics is very well prepared, and I don't know what to do against her Najdorf. So if he plays a6, I'm in trouble, guys. That is Sopiko's video series, and he knows it. He knows it. Sopiko, why do you prepare everybody so well from your awesome video series? I will go bishop e2 because that's a solid line against the Najdorf. But honestly, if you have watched the video series on the Najdorf by Sopiko on Chess24, then you know more than enough about this opening. And yeah, I think that all these lines for black are very comfortable, and black equalizes in basically all these variations. So bishop e2 is not a refutation of the Najdorf, it's just a solid position that can be played by like many different variations, many different maneuvers white has, but all in all this is an equal position where basically chess strength is what decides the game, not theoretical knowledge. I think, but maybe I'm wrong. So I can play, as I said, many different ways of playing. I will do this. Actually, I'm not sure about the best move order, but I want to do a funny knight maneuver. You know that I like maneuvers. Bishop f3, and then knight d2, knight f1, knight e3, and knight d5. It's all about the d5 square as far as my plan goes. That is an outpost if I could use it. He's not letting me, because if I go knight d2, knight d4 is very annoying. So I shall play bishop e3 first, and then knight d2 I shall consider. Of course, sometimes this whole thing doesn't work because you go knight d2 and black plays d5 if he can, and therefore this long maneuver is pointless. Also with the bishop on e3, you don't have a square for the knight. You go knight d2, knight f1, and you're stuck. So, of course, this is not as nice as it sounds that you will have a nice outpost on d5, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now with the queen on a5, you should be careful about knight d5. So if it's my turn, I will play knight d5. He knows it. I will have played knight d5, queen would have been hanging, you take on d2, I have an intermediate move, knight takes e7, check, and then I will take the queen. It's good that he avoided it, of course this was the right move. And I think, shall I or not? I'm thinking about playing knight d5 anyway. I will do it. I'm running low on time, of course. How could I have more time on the clock? No way. So this is a funny position. I have had this middle game often in my games. The pawn structure has completely changed. There's no backward pawn on d6, there's no hole on d5, and now it's all about the bishop pair, but we both have bishop pairs, so it's a middle game with only bishops as minor pieces. I want to play on the queen side, c4, b4, c5. I wish I could create a passed pawn. And of course black wants to prevent it, and he wants to push on the king side. He wants to play f5. And usually in that position I want to meet f5 with f4, and therefore my bishop is not well placed here at the moment. Now if I go c4, f5, c5, that's premature. I think he will take it, and I don't have d6. So what shall I do? Shall I move this bishop to play f4? It's a bit weird. I might need to do it. I wish I could have played g3, bishop g2 before, then it wouldn't be so weird. I don't like my bishop on e2. That's not the square where I want this bishop. So yeah, I was not in time to place the bishop on g2 and then meet f5 with f4. I don't want to allow black playing f4. That would be lots of space on the king side, f3 in the future, and good attacking chances. I thought normally black doesn't take on f4, but keeps the pressure. Anyway, let's see what is his plan. Does he want to win the pawn on b2? I think that's poisoned. Isn't that poisoned? I can move the king, allow him to take on b2 and then play rook b1 and take on b7 afterwards, or I can play queen e3 or bishop e3 as well if I'm afraid of this pawn grabbing. Am I afraid of this pawn grabbing? Well, he will take on a2 as well. Anyway, let's give it up. I think this bishop on e7 should be hanging. So, yeah, I don't have a good discovered move with the bishop, but I'm hoping that there will be some tactics thanks to this hanging bishop. And I have my rook on the 7th rank, so I'm a pawn down, but I have an active rook. And also I'm hoping that by moving the bishop away, I will be attacking the c7 bishop again. How shall I do it? Alert, I can get back rank mate if I'm not cautious. I thought this was good, but I'm not. My pieces are a bit weird. There's not much harmony between my pieces. That's my problem. If I move this bishop away, he will just move the bishop, the e7 bishop. Well, I think I'll do that anyway. But, oh, I should be careful about the d5 pawn sometimes. Oh, and I should play much faster. Okay, I'm very slow and my pieces are somewhat clumsy. I wish I had more harmony, and I wish I had my pawn on h3 because I'm afraid that there will be some back rank problem. So I can take the pawn, but is there some back rank stuff? Queen takes c2. Ooh, that would be painful. Let's prevent this, even if I can't win the pawn. Yeah, I think I was one tempo short with this attack, so I couldn't take on d6 because queen takes c2, sacrificing the queen, I think would have worked. I couldn't take back because of the mate, back rank mate. If I take on e8, oh, what am I doing? Anyway, let's try to play fast, even if it's bad. Pre-move. I'm a minute behind on the clock, so I think even if I had a few pieces, well, not a few pieces, but maybe a pawn up, it would still be problematic to try to win this game with no time. He's threatening my pawn. What am I doing about this? Oh my, oh my, oh my, what I shall do about this. Anyway, let's do it. I'll give it up. I want to promote my d-pawn. That's my main goal. And not care about rook takes c2. I will play queen b4 afterwards. Thanks to my bishop on f3, it's all protected. Oh, he wants a trade of queens. All right. I'll march with the pawn. Maybe I should have taken on f6 first, but anyway, rook d2 will prevent my pawn from promotion. What am I doing? I don't know. This might have not been a good idea because now my pawn is hanging. I have to play this, and this is a bishop endgame with a pawn down. I totally played this part very bad. I think I had counterplay thanks to the pawn, but now the king will approach my pawn and problems. I'll give a check if king e8. I think he will go king d8. My king is so far. If I had my king close, then I would have real chances, but like this, okay, he's got doubled pawns, but if king d7, I will give a check. Yeah, a5 is a good move. Anyway, my king is just too far, so in endgames you need your king to be as active as possible. I would need my king on c5 by now, and it's not there. And now king d7, and he will win my pawn. Yeah, it's painful. So I'm lost, and I don't have time. It's not so easy to win it, though, yet. He needs his bishop on e6 to get rid of my blockade. I should play fast. Play fast, and I play faster. Pre-move? If he plays f4, then I'm busted. Why did I pre-move? He knew that I would pre-move. he blundered his bishop on purpose. How could you? How could you do that? Why did you do that? I pre-moved. He played bishop d5. I resign. Wabenkrete 0-1. You played very well, but bishop d5 was a nasty trick. You know that? You knew that I would pre-move. Because in this position, I have 13 seconds on the clock. And I don't want to lose on time, so I pre-move because I'm expecting any natural move. I can go h4, have all my pawns on dark squares, and have this blockade on a2. But instead, my opponent was smart. He knew that I would pre-move. So if you pre-move, what's the best move here? Bishop d5 and take the bishop. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That was a painful last game. But anyway, I was outplayed in the middle game. I think maybe in the end this queen b6, this pawn grabbing was alright. I thought I would have enough compensation here. I thought that this was maybe too much, this queen b6, queen takes b2, but he was right that I have back rank problems. So maybe this king h1 was not the best, but I thought that if I move the bishop, I give up the pawn, so similar position, but here, I was worried that with the bishop here, at some point there will be f4 coming as well, but probably I had to play like this, so that there would be no back rank problem. I'm not attacking the d6 pawn either, so maybe black is just fine in all these positions. I thought that thanks to the rook on the 7th rank, I have enough compensation. But these bishops are protecting all the important squares around the king. So I might not have actually real counterplay for the pawn. And my bishops are clumsy. If I had my bishops somewhere better, I kept this one here. But the e2 bishop was really clumsy. And I just have no way of exploiting this fact that the e7 bishop would be hanging after a move like bishop c4. I can't place the bishop on c4, it's hanging, so... And I don't have any other good moves. I could have taken the pawn on a6, but that's not a big deal. And the rook would be hanging on b1 anyway, so the queen on a2 is a very active piece, not just grabbing the pawns, but attacking my back rank, the rook or the back rank after rook b7, rook e8, bishop f3 and bishop f6. What I was telling you, and I think this is a beautiful line that we can finish with, I wanted to take the pawn, but I thought that it's not possible because of queen takes c2. Look at this move. I hope it's correct, but this is what I calculated. If I take, he takes back. And it doesn't change the fact that I cannot capture the queen because of rook e1. Mate. Checkmate. That is beautiful. And I think that is where my position... that is the reason why my position is bad. Because if I had time to play h3 and then after the bishop move, imagine I could have played twice. Two moves, my pawn was on h3, Then I could play bishop takes d6. I regain material, it's all equal, and I have this very strong d5 passed pawn. So in that case, I could have had very good chances of winning the game. But instead, with the pawn on h2, this is a different story. I'm a pawn down, and I cannot take the d6 pawn because of the back rank. That was a beautiful motif. Thank you, Wabenkrutter, for the game. I will not forget that you tricked me at the end of the game. That was not nice. But anyway, it's a blitz game, and you knew that I would pre-move probably with no time on the clock. It's logical that you played for this trick, pre-move, bishop d5. And yeah, you could have just played bishop d7 instead and win on the normal way. But bishop d5 was a tricky one that actually was more effective. Thank you guys for all these blitz games. Now I will say goodbye, and as I promised, I will go to the chat here on Chess24. I will see what you guys have told me about blitz games, rapid games, classical time control, whether you prefer to play on a real chessboard or you prefer actually on the computer, because you can pre-move, you can play much faster than on a physical chessboard. So some people really love playing on the computer, especially bullet, because you can be so much faster than in real life. Which one do you prefer? What are your thoughts on this? And of course, let me know, where are you from? Where do you live? How is the weather? Is it summer? Is it winter? What time is it? Here it's evening. I will go and have dinner now. It's 8:30 in Spain and it's still really hot. Next week I will be back with another Banter Blitz. I'll practice. I think the first game was the worst. I lost badly. I just blundered this queen f6. Beautiful tactical maneuver. If you remember that game with the bishop on e5, white having the bishop on e5, this fianchetto structure that I had on the king side, and the queen coming to f6, that was a very, very nice idea that my opponents managed to spot. And also these other games, I think all of you, you all fought very well. Some of you fought more successfully in terms of the result, but the result is not everything. So I want to congratulate everybody for having played so well, for giving me such a tough fight. And also, if I couldn't accept your challenge today, remember that next week I will be back and I will once again stream a Banter Blitz session next Thursday. Write it in your calendar, next Thursday, Banter Blitz with my strategy, blundering more pieces, and mate, and losing on time. I hope that after a few sessions I can claim that I'm not expecting that, but so far my Banter Blitz level is about that. It's about all sorts of mistakes, and I think that's really entertaining to watch. A titled player blundering all her pieces, or losing on time, or both. I will be back next week with more of these funny mistakes and hopefully instructive ones as well, because at least I explain my bad moves at the same time. So make sure that you come back next Thursday, and also stay tuned for the announcements on Chess24, because Sopiko will be in Hamburg recording her new video series, and she will definitely have a live show as well. Make sure that you check back for the schedule that Sopiko will have next week. I wish you, everyone, a lovely evening, day, afternoon, morning, and a very nice week. See you next week, next Thursday, and play more Blitz. And don't forget about the comments below.